the entirety of the show?
I don't know. My favorite bad guy's always been Jalal.
Mm-hmm. He's Mr. Khan. Spoiler. Not really a spoiler because there's some twists and turns in there, but
yeah. Just the thing, just some of the things that, the way he, like, especially in the beginning, has weaseled his way into the top tier. It's almost an espionage movie type.
Yeah.
And then, like, even just like when things progress even further and they end up fighting, I mean, he's mean. Let's see, I would have,
which I don't mean
it's
to interrupt
so hard.
you, but the fight, the boss fight between Jalal and Natsu, still my favorite fight.
Yeah,
in the entire show.
That was ridiculous.
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why it would just have to be Jalal. And the fact that he just keeps, it doesn't matter what they do, he keeps finding a way to pop back up.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to pick a favorite good guy.
That's why I asked you first.
It would almost, I love all of them, but there's a special little, thing that Natsu has. That just, I mean, I don't even think the show would exist if it wasn't for Natsu.
Yeah.
The way that, because he's not only is he one of the major players in every fight, but he's also one of the biggest chunks of comic relief. In one of the first episodes, and
he's Luffy.
Him and Lucy are, yeah.
He's Fairy Tail's Luffy.
Yeah. But like, one of the things that still to this day makes me laugh. It's like the third or fourth episode, and him and Lucy are sneaking into this mansion, and she tells him he's got to be quiet. And he takes his scarf and pulls it up over his face, and he goes, "We gotta be like ninja." Nin, nin, nin. And it still makes me crack up every time I see it.
I guess for me, it would be, I don't know, like, for villains, I really like Jalal. I like that fight between Natsu and Jalal. But I would probably have to go with, and it's not really one person. It's the guild, the evil guild, when they were attacked by the first Fairy Tail Master on the training island.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't really like point and choose like a specific villain, because a lot of those fights, like the first time when Natsu fights the God Slayer, the one that has the fire magic.
The entirety of Grimoire Heart.
Yeah, Grimoire Heart. There
is the guild.
That
is insane.
Yeah, that entire
they are some of the
so crazy.
Yeah. And the ending of that arc was just, I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was
insane. Fucking insane. Like that's when the show really hooked me. Is that whole arc, and leading up through that. The fight with Jalal and Natsu, was awesome, and that was like, oh, this is going to be a pretty good show. Hopefully they can maintain, this kind of, storytelling and tension and stuff throughout the entirety of the series. And then they got to that Grimoire Heart part, and was that before or after Daedalus and Earthland?
That was after.
Was that after?
Yeah, because you'll remember at the end of the Grimoire Heart, the island sinks or disappears.
Yeah.
And then you come.
Oh, and then it's the time skip.
Yeah, and then it's the time skip to modern, to now.
Okay.
To the arc we're in now.
So the switching of worlds arc was actually really cool because it explains a lot of things. It explains who Mystigon is. It explains, where Happy and I was going to say Lucy, but that was wrong. What's
Carla.
Carla. You know,
Yeah.
where the cats come from. They have a name. I keep forgetting their names. Like the species name.
Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts.
Right? It's like
Exceeds.
Exceeds. So it's basically a world full of Exceeds. Like humans and Exceeds live together, but Exceeds are like the gods of this world.
They control the magic power in that dimension.
But I mean, I totally got off topic. But okay, so favorite hero. Shit, I don't know. Like, I really like Gajeel in the later stuff. When we first meet him, he's evil, and he's working for an evil guild. So is Juvia. So, you know, I guess he would classify as a favorite villain / hero, because he starts out as one and becomes the other. But I'll classify him as my hero, my favorite hero. I like the dynamic between him and Natsu, and you know his dynamic between him and Levi, who is like she's like a rune magician. And then
total bookworm. Type.
And then villain, I'd probably have to go with Jalal too. Like, I don't know, that whole. I really enjoyed Grimoire Heart, but I don't want to pick like an entire guild as my favorite villain. So I would have to say Jalal, just because. I guess it would technically be Zareth, the evil demon that's still trying to come back. Yeah. But just the fight between him and Natsu was fucking incredible. I mean, I would put it up there with, you know, like Ichigo and Grimmjow's fight from Bleach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or Naruto and Sasuke. You know, those epic fights, that's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Or any of the major boss fights in One Piece. That's right, I said it. One Piece is awesome. You know, but you know, like we were saying, there's so much fairy tale. It's definitely not something that you can just sit down and watch in a weekend. It's something that it's going to take a good bit of time to sit down and let sink in. I guess we already touched on like arcs that are skippable, because that's a huge factor in a lot of anime. Bleach is one of the longest running shows. It just recently ended, but there are whole arcs in that show that you can just skip. You know, I think I skipped something like 100 episodes because they were just filler. Like, there's no point in fucking watching them. And some, you know, and I'm not knocking it. Some people, you know, enjoy fillers. I'm just one of those that I just want the story. I want the main story, and that's all I want. Especially if it's a show I really don't care about. Like, I'm not a huge Bleach fan, so I can just take it or leave it. But I'm sure there are people who question my, you know, judgment when it comes to One Piece, because I have never missed an episode of One Piece. I don't care what it is, I'll watch it. So I guess it's just, you know, if you enjoy the content of the show and the story, then you'll watch everything. But like we were saying, for Fairy Tail, in my opinion, really the only arc that you could possibly skip is the Infinity Clock arc, because it was just a filler arc. You know, it wasn't. And that, it didn't do anything to the story. It was just one more. It was one more season to beat the shit out of Lucy.
And honestly, afterwards, and you'll notice it, especially if you like rewatch the latest arc that just started. They never mention anything that happened in the Infinity Clock series at all.
Really?
Ever.
I didn't notice that.
Never. Yeah, you'll if you ever like skip back a couple episodes or something, and you know, just kind of like, you know, they never mention it. It, you know, basically when they're talking, it goes straight from, you know, this arc to this arc, and then that never happened, and like nothing ever comes up about it.
So it was just blatant filler. Like, was Infinity Clock in the manga?
No.
It wasn't at all?
No.
Holy shit. That's
crazy. It's as far as I know, everyone I've talked to said that it never existed in the manga.
Huh. That's weird. All right.
And they basically had to take a break to let the manga, you know, get some room between the manga and the anime, so they didn't run out of story.
So they just fluffed up the show.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess this is a perfect segue into, not focusing on all the negative. What was your favorite arc of Fairy Tail? And why, I guess, if you want to explain.
My favorite arc, I guess, would have to be after the Otherworld, the Edalus arc, and they went to Tirojima, which is the home of Fairy Tail's power.
Yeah. It's like a huge fucking tree.
And that's... Yeah, it's a huge island with a gigantic tree on it. They go... basically, the Makarov, the Guildmaster, picks... Was it 7? I believe 7.
Yeah, to test for S rank.
Yeah. Yep, and they were going for their test to become an S-ranked wizard, which allows them to do the more difficult and higher paying jobs. And it's a big bragging right. And they all get to pick they all pick a teammate, and they take off and go to the island. And that entire arc was crazy. That's where Grimoire Heart shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. In the huge fight.
Who is a dark guild. Yeah. It's a dark guild, but it's actually ran by the second master of Fairy Tail, who left and started a dark guild.
That was a really cool fight too, the boss battle between him and Natsu. When is that the first time Natsu uses the thunder power?
Yes. Yeah, that's where he gets Thunder Fire Dragon.
He eats Laxus's power, which Laxus is. No, his dad isn't a master. His dad's a master of a separate guild. So his dad was never a Fairy Tail master.
He is the grandson of
Makarov,
the master. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a pseudo Dragon Slayer, right? Like he's a second generation Dragon Slayer or something. Yeah.
So, as we learn in this last arc, there are 3 generations of Dragon Slayers. There's Natsu and Gajeel, which are they were raised by dragons. Oh, and Wendy, yeah. They're raised by dragons, taught Dragon Slayer magic from dragons, and then there's the second generation,
which is kind of weird.
And
why would a dragon teach Dragon Slayer magic?
Right. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to teach you the magic you need to kill me.
Yeah, I'm going to teach you the one way to kill me.
They're all taught by their perspective dragon. Wendy is an air dragon slayer, and she was taught by an air dragon.
Yeah.
It's kind of, hey, I'm going to teach you the magic that you need to kill me someday. And then the second generation is Dragon Slayers that have eaten, they have been implanted with a lacrima, which is like a crystal full of magic power, to become a Dragon Slayer. So Laxus, and there's another one somewhere that I can't think of right now. Oh, the snake guy from Origin Sace.
I wanted to say Orphanok, but I don't know if that's right.
No. And then there's a third generation that is only in the current arc that we're in now, which is
Rogue,
a Dragon Slayer that was raised by a dragon and then implanted with a lacrima. Yeah, Sting and Rogue.
And they actually killed their dragon partners or teachers.
Yes.
Right? Parents. I don't know.
Parents. Natsu calls them parents. To Natsu, Igneal, the fire dragon, is his dad.
For me, my favorite arc was probably the Edalus arc, where they went to the other world. And the main reason why is because we finally got to see them in a situation where it wasn't easy. Because in Earthland, magic is abundant. It's everywhere. You can use it as you like. But in Edalus, which Edalus is kind of like a mirror realm, like it's like another dimension. So all the same
Yeah,
people exist. They're just a little bit different. They're kind of opposites of what they are in the world we're used to. So when they get to Edelus, magic is scarce, so they can't use magic as they see fit. So for the first time, we really get to see them adapt and work together as, you know, a team to figure out, you know, how do we do this without, you know, using magic. And I don't know. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to like spoil too much. But for me, it was one of the more interesting and thought-provoking arcs, especially when like the members were like encountering their counterparts every now and then. You know, it was just really cool, and the way it ended was really awesome. But the twist at the end of that arc, when everyone gets ejected from Edelus back to Earth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give it away, but that was one of the moments that made me fucking choke up. Was when they returned.
I bawled like a little girl.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was my favorite arc. That was the one that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
Besides the current arc, because I really enjoyed tournaments. You know, that's the whole reason why I liked like Yu Hakusho, the dark tournament, stuff like that, or Dragon Ball Z, the arc where they were in the other world and they're the whole tournament, or the Cell tournament. I really enjoy those tournament types, which makes me wonder if Japan has something with like tournaments, like if they just do like a shit ton of tournaments all the time, like, because it's like in every anime. But that was my favorite arc. I'm done talking. I don't know what else. My brain just stopped. It's late.
Yeah. I guess one of the things that we should probably touch on is that Fairy Tail is much like any anime. Mm-hmm. It has its normal anime tropes.
Fan service.
There is, not as much as a lot of animes I've seen recently.
Yeah, not as much as like One Piece, because One Piece has a shit ton of fan service.
But they do have they did have the
obligatory
water
swimsuit fight.
Yeah, the obligatory swimsuit fight, or the fight in the tournament where it was a pinup model fight, and every girl in the stadium got out in the arena in a bathing suit. Mm. They do have that.
Yeah.
It's not as blatant or as often as a lot, but the one that I know irritates you, and as much as it does me, is the whole